Today's project is removing the old marker lights from the front of the RV and replacing them with brand new LED ones. The old marker lights are still on in the middle. There's part of one on the driver's side. I started replacing the one on the passenger side. It's already hooked up. I've checked it and it works. So now we're going to deal with these other ones. So this is the first marker light in the line of marker lights of the cab here. And I've got the last one installed. You need to do the 3 middle ones, and I've got this one ready to put together. This one has extra wires. There are 2 wires into each of this cluster here. This is the original marker light that was on here. It had an orange cover and there was a light bulb that went right in here. These 2 wires, or 4 wires altogether, came up through these holes in there. And this part here, this metal part, clamped down onto the wire, which made the connection. Now, I'm going to be installing these LED ones, which have 2 very little wires because LEDs don't require as much electricity to run, so they have smaller wires. And I need to attach them to these 2. On this one, the black is negative and the yellow is positive. And if you remember from past videos, in the RV, P for purple is positive and the green is G, ground. So I need to attach the black to the ground and the yellow is the positive one, so it's going to the purple. And I have these connector caps, which are bigger ones because this is quite a cluster of wire here that I need to get that into the cap with the little wire from the new light. And after taking off the old light, there was a lot of goop and everything here, so I've cleaned all of that off with turpentine and it's nice and clean now. The problem is that the new lights only have 2 screws to attach them, whereas the old ones had 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this area here that will go under the new light with Eternabond, so that the sticky side is against these screw holes, and it will cover up these old screw holes. It'll cover up this hole here, and it should make everything fairly waterproof. I did that with the back marker lights and it seems to have worked quite well. And it's been about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years since I did that, and they seem to be holding up quite well. So I'm going to go and cut out a piece of Eternabond to go and cover this. So this is what the back of the new LED lights look like. They don't actually include kitten paws, but Gracie has to be involved in everything that I do, so here she is. So the back of this has the 2 wires, the positive and the negative. Gracie will point out the positive and the negative wires to you and chew on them as well, because that's a very important step. This also is 2 parts. So this black part here is the base, and you can see all the little components in the inside the light. So it's fairly sealed. It's obviously 2 parts as well, but it is sealed in there. And this set that I bought 2 sets. I bought the red ones for the back and the amber ones for the front. And they came in a pack of 6, I believe, because I have 1 extra red one left still. So I have an extra if I have a failure. But these ones I got them on Amazon, and I will leave a link down below in the description if I can find it, if they're still available. Grace, you're such a big help. So we're going to cut out a piece of Eternabond, just a little bit smaller than this base plate here. Okay, so So I have the piece of Eternabond cut that fits on the back here. And this is kind of strange. This is the first time I've seen this, where the Eternabond gluey stuff is actually quite thin in there. You can see the back of the tape there. I've never seen that before. Interesting. But I'm sure when I press it on, it's going to seal all around there anyway. Now also, because this new light has these wires sticking out the back and then you need to go through this piece of Eternabond, I'm going to cut a slit from the bottom up to the middle so that these wires can go through the slit and then be surrounded by the Eternabond on all four sides. So I'll show you, I'll cut that and then I'll show you. There's the Eternabond with the slit cut in it for the wires to come through. And I'm going to go and install it now. So I'll need to attach the wires to the RV wires and make sure it all works before I put everything else together. So I'm going to go in and connect it and we'll check to make sure it works. I've got it all hooked up here, positive to positive, negative to negative. Now I'm going to go and turn on the headlights and make sure this comes on. So that's working. 3 of them above the window. The first 2 are working, the last one isn't. And then the one at the very end there is the one that I just installed, and it's working, which is good because otherwise I'd have to take it all apart again. So I used some black tape to tape up the connectors because this is a moving vehicle and everything is shaking around. There's always the possibility that things are going to come undone. So just as a precaution, I've taped them up. And now I just stick them into the hole inside the RV. So I'm going to do that because I need 2 hands to do that. So there they are, all tucked in there. So now the light can fit over top of them. This excess wire, because there's a hollow here, will fit into this area. So now I will get the Eternabond put on there. So I put the Eternabond on there. I haven't pressed it yet though. So I'm going to use my roller to press it down really hard, and that'll make it permanent. It's all sealed now. I've used my roller on it. You can see down here is where the slit for the wires was. And now I can put that on there. I'll have to adjust it a little bit so it's covering all of the Eternabond, and drill some holes for the 2 screws right there. So that's the next step. So there's the new light all installed, and I can go on and do these last 3 tomorrow because the day is over and the bugs are coming out, and it's time for me to go inside and make supper. So now we're going to be working on these ones here. This one doesn't work. The other 2 do work, but they're all still coming off and being replaced with the LED ones. Now these ones just come off. There's a little space right here that you can stick a screwdriver or a file or something into and just pop the cover off. So you can see how dirty the insides of these are. It's a wonder they actually last as long as they do. So these are going to come off. I'm going to have to clean all the sealant around the edges here away so I can pull this off. And then there'll be 2 wires underneath here that attach to these 2 spots right here. You can see the ends of the wires there. So that's the positive and the negative, and those will come out of there and they'll just be sticking out of a hole, and then we can attach the new LED lights. So I'm going to cut around this and get that off and show you what it looks like. There's one of the wires, and the other one is right here. And this little metal plate that's here, there was one on this one as well. They hold the wires in place. And because they are there, this won't come off. It's the metal plates that are holding the wire in place. So we need to get these little metal things off of here. I've got the one off. And now I need to do the other one. Okay, so I've got both the metal plates off now. And if we look underneath here, you can see the purple and green wire there, and they've just come out of there. So that was one in there and one in there. So those are gone now. Chuck it away. So here's the positive wire and the negative wire. So I need to clean this up, get all the scoop off of here, get this off of there, because the Eternabond won't stick to that. So I'll get that cleaned up with some scraping and some chemical and get back to installing the new one. I went ahead and took all three of the remaining lights off, and I've scraped most of the guck off. So now I'm going to get some turpentine and clean those areas up to make them nice and clean. That was the biggest part of the job, was actually getting all the goop cleaned off there, because a lot of it was silicone from the original sealants, and that's a pain to get off. But it's all clean now. They all work. So now I'm going to tape the ends together with electrician's tape and then put the Eternabond on and then seal them up with the screws. They're all on, they all work, and now all I have to do is clean up my mess.